So to run a node, firstly we'll be using a VPS today. You can also host the node on your own system. There's a minimum requirement, which you can find on the document. So you can access the doc link here, and we'll also make sure to share the link in the chat. Here you can see the minimum hardware requirement to run a node. You will also need a crypto wallet with minimum SHM to stake. The current minimum stake requirement to run a node is 2,400 SHM. So the first step, let's make sure to add the Shardeum mainnet network to our MetaMask account. To do that, we can just go to this link. To find this link, you can just go to Google and search Shardeum endpoints. And you can click on the first link which says Network Endpoints. Once you're here, you can simply click on Connect to Shardeum mainnet. This will add all the network details in your MetaMask wallet. So once you have added the network, you can just make sure that you have minimum 2,400 SHM to stake and run the node. We have our crypto wallet, and we have our network setup ready. So let's start setting up our node. To do that, we can start copying the commands from the document. And here you can see on the right side, I've opened my terminal using the Terminus app, which you can use to access your VPS. I'll just simply start copying my first command, which is to install the curl. If you have your own laptop, Linux-based operating system, and you have the minimum requirement to run the node, you can use this doc, and you can start using the commands to run a node. Just make sure that you have also installed the Docker application to set up the node. So on the VPS, I'll just start copying the first command, which is to install the curl. I'll just copy it and enter. This will ask me to continue by pressing Y or N. So to continue, I just press Y and press enter. So this will start installing the curl. Basically, the curl is a tool that we'll be using to download all the data, all the commands that we'll be using next. This curl will help us to download all the data using the terminal. You can see we have successfully installed the curl. Next, we'll be copying the next command, which is to update the packages. I'll just copy it, and I'll just paste it there. This command will basically update the list of all the available packages and their version on your system. It's Linux-based, so it will just update all the packages already on the system. The next command is to install the Docker and Docker IO. So I'll just copy this one and just paste it here. Now it will ask me permission to continue. I will press Y and enter, and it will take some time to download and install the Docker. So basically, while we are installing the Docker, this command, which is going to install Docker, will allow you to run and manage all the containers. You can see we have installed Docker. The next step is to check whether the Docker was installed properly, And you can also check the minimum version requirement to install the node. So I'll just copy the Docker version command, and I'll just paste it here. You can see the version is 27.5.1, which is more than the minimum required version mentioned on the doc. We have installed all the requirements to finally download and install the Shardeum Validator. I'll just use the next command, which is the curl command, to install the Shardeum Validator. To do that, I'll just copy this command here, and I'll just paste it here. And then it will ask me to double-check my minimum hardware requirement, which I mentioned earlier. So if you have the minimum requirement, you can press Y and press Enter. Now the next thing is, it will ask you in which directory you want to install it. So I'm just going to go with the default one, which is the Shardeum. And to select the default, I'll just press Enter. And the next one is, do I need a web-based dashboard, which is the GUI? So yes, I'll need the GUI. So I'll just press Y. If you are okay with the CLI, you can choose to press N and press Enter. So now it's asking me the port number to basically access my web-based dashboard. The port number by default is 8080. To choose the default one, I'll just keep it blank and press Enter. And so, what happens if you don't want a default number and one? So here you can see that it's mentioned that you can select any other port if you are already using the 8080 port for some other app on your system. You have the option to select any number between these, which is not currently used. If I don't want to use 8080, I can select a different number and I can type it here, and I can press Enter. So the next one is the external IPS. I'll also just use the default one here, which is auto. Now it's asking me for the P2P communication. And so this is a very important step. You have to make sure that these ports are open, because these ports will be helping all the nodes on the network to communicate with each other. Here I'm just going to select the default one, but if you want to choose a different one, you can just select any number between the mentioned numbers here, and you can just type it here and press Enter. This is again a second port, which I will be selecting the default one again. That's all. Now you can see we have entered all the required details to start downloading the validator. It will take some time to download each file, and once the downloading is complete, you'll see it will start extracting the files. Network speed is excellent. You'll be able to complete it in 1 or 2 minutes. You can see that it only took less than 1 minute to download all the files. Now it's extracting all the files, and once the extraction is complete, you'll see it will directly install, and it will ask you to enter your password, which you will be using to access your dashboard. So the downloading is basically depending on your network connection. If you're using a VPS, just double-check which subscription provides a better internet connection. This will also help you stay on standby without any issue. The main thing is it will take some time to extract. I think the extraction is also complete. And now you can see everything is ready to go. And it's just asking me to enter the password that I will be using to access my web-based dashboard. So I'll just enter a password here, and I will just press enter. You can see everything is ready. You can directly access your dashboard by clicking on the link provided here. But you can also just use your VPS IP address and the port number that you use to directly access your web-based dashboard. So I'll just click on this link. As you can see, we are able to access the dashboard. Let me just extend the window. I'll just enter my password that I entered to access the dashboard. So if you're able to access your dashboard, your node installation was successful. And you can also access the node using your CLI command. So we were able to log in with the same password that we entered in the terminal. Now, the next step is to connect your wallet and start your node. So I'm just going to use my MetaMask wallet, and I'll press connect. And then I'll click on the Start Node button here. Just wait for some time, so you can see the node has successfully started. You can stake your SHM on this landing page. You can also just skip to the main dashboard code of your node. We'll just wait for the node to fit the current node status. And yeah, so now you can see the node is currently running. And the current status is no SHM staked. So your node is running at the moment, but it's not on the network. To join the network, you have to make sure to stake the minimum SHM, which is 2,400 SHM. So to do that, as you know, we have the minimum SHM in our wallet. Just click on the Add Stake button here. And the minimum requirement is 2,400 SHM. Just type the minimum number here and click on Stake. Now, I'll just click on the confirmation to do the transaction and stake my SHM. I'll just wait for a minute here. And you can see we were able to successfully stake 2,400 SHM. And now, it will take some time to update the status here. You can see that my node is currently in waiting for the network, which means that you were able to successfully stake 2,400 SHM. And now, it's waiting in the line to get connected to the network. So once you are connected, the next status you will see here is the standby. So once you are on the standby, it means that you were able to join the network. And you can also see that currently, there are 166 standby validators. So to start earning SHM, you'll have to wait for the network to randomly pick your node from the standby list and move it to the active validators. Once you are selected as an active validator, you will be able to validate the transactions, and you will be able to earn 10 SHM per hour. That's the whole procedure of running the node.